Hi, in this video we're going to talk about Zendesk, Hubspot, Intercom knowledge bases and basically compare them, their features and the look and feel of a knowledge base built with either one of those knowledge base softwares, so that you can hopefully understand what the different knowledge base softwares offer, and hopefully this video will help you make a choice on where to build your products knowledge base. I'm assuming that you are somebody who is a SaaS leader involved in a SaaS, whether it's customer education or marketing or any other department. This video is for you if you're looking to make a choice on the best knowledge base software based on the look and feel of the knowledge base that you can build. I'll show you some examples, dissect them, and show you the different elements that that are sort of trademarks of the different knowledge base softwares that we'll be looking at. So without any further ado, I will get started. The first knowledge base we're going to look at is actually built on, you guessed it right, Intercom. So Intercom is one of many knowledge base softwares out there. It's one of the leading knowledge base softwares, and probably if you're listening to this video right now, you probably must have heard about Intercom during your research, whether on Google or YouTube. And if you look at my screen here, this is what it looks like. Basically, it's sort of bubbles that appear on the home page with a big search bar at the top, and the bubbles represent categories, different categories of articles that you have on your product knowledge base. And essentially, you can search as any search bar works. You come here, maybe search for equipment, and then it would, you have to hit enter, and then it brings up search results. But other than that, it's fairly simple in the sense that these are the categories that you have, and when you click on them, you get to access the articles that are grouped under that category. Now, before I go ahead, I want to actually also explain what the products I'm talking about do. It's not for advertising. It's just simply for you to appreciate the context as we explore these knowledge bases. So SafeSite is actually a leading SaaS in construction management globally. Basically, it replaces processes and different procedures that were originally paper-based, or for a long time have been paper-based. And it replaces those processes and it takes them into an app called SafeSite. So these processes are usually things around conducting safety checks, conducting meetings as well, and reporting any hazards or risk on a construction site. So all of these three things are really what SafeSite is about, and it allows people to do this through an app, and it also has a web version as well, which is dedicated to admins, whereas the app is more so for construction workers who are literally on site and in the field. So this knowledge base, as you can see, getting started is always a useful category, by the way, for a knowledge base. Getting started introduces people to the SafeSite app, and we just clicked on it. This is once again a huge category or collection, as Intercom actually refers to categories. It's called a collection on Intercom, but in essence, each article is highlighted by the author. And here, when you preview articles within a collection or a category, you can see there's a very short description here, accompanying each article, and it just gives you a glimpse of beyond the title, complementing the title to help you decide on what article you should be reading about. So let's actually look at what an article looks like when we click on it. So Intercom, for me, as you'll see later, the articles kind of appear as one long Google Doc. As far as what it looks like, you see the white background, with the article, looks like it's a Google Doc and somebody just typed on it. The fonts aren't really customizable all that much because it's the same style. You won't see any different fonts elsewhere. on any other knowledge base, and it's fairly a basic sort of text edit kind of look in terms of how the articles appear. Nothing really special. And what I'll point out is Intercom has a really great voting system that allows viewers of the knowledge base or articles to actually vote on how helpful the content was in terms of answering or satisfying, whatever brought them to the knowledge base. So it's a big smile, meh, and then sad or disappointed. So that's basically a very brief introduction to and all you need really to understand about an Intercom knowledge base. Again, I think beyond what we've seen so far is that categories are there, of course, and it's and the other thing that we'll talk about now is the branding. So SafeSite, clearly branded their knowledge base, but to a very limited extent, and not because that they didn't bother to exercise all the branding opportunities they had, but this is all Intercom offers. So what you can do is change the color at the top or sort of at the header of your knowledge base. Clearly they changed it to blue. You can add your logo, and then you can also hyperlink to your main website as they did at the top here. Now, one thing I'll also talk about later more clearly is how you can customize your knowledge base's URL. We'll talk about that later, but that's something to keep in mind for now. Before we move on to any other knowledge base, the last thing I'd like to note and actually give Intercom the highest credit for is they have the most elegant kind of chat bot or chat option out of all the knowledge base software options. And that's because as you can see here, it sort of previews options for chat. And so if you want perhaps to chat with a sales rep or chat with support, book a product demo, foresight, policyholder info, those are options that you can quickly preview or show or have appear for your users that are visiting your knowledge base, and it allows them to quickly click and get to the right place. I know it's of course just a convenience by one click, but at the end of the day, it really does achieve the whole grand point of a knowledge base, which is to give the user strong comfort and trust in knowing that they can use your app or software without any issues at all. And of course, once you click on the chat, they can actually then engage in a full-on chat, whether by clicking on those options or doing something beyond what they just selected. All right, and so now we're going to look at another Intercom knowledge base, and that is one about an app called Pixie. So in a nutshell, Pixie is basically a project management tool, but only for accounting and HR related tasks. So instead of using Asana or anything like that, which is like a general project management tool, Pixie is specifically designed for coordinating accounting and HR aspects of any project or any kind of organization, and it's a tool specifically built for that kind of collaboration. And in a nutshell, you see that there's no huge difference. The branding, as I mentioned, it's only really the header that you get to brand, the logo as well. Here you see once again a link to their actual website, search bar at the top, and sort of I keep calling them bubbles, but they're not really bubbles, but more like rectangles, resembling the different categories or collections as they're called on Intercom. And when you click on it, same thing, you get the author when it was updated, and these guys didn't make use of the one sentence summary that you can put alongside an article topic. But anyway, that's basically the basic look. And you see that the links on this knowledge base are actually customized to align with the brand color pink or a pinkish color. And so that's one huge difference you see here. You are able also to add images on an Intercom knowledge base. You just didn't see that in SafeSite or barely did. but that's also a possibility. And obviously screenshots are a huge part of a knowledge base. We are going to make a video soon. We are a team, not just me. We are going to make a video soon on screenshots, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, you see the same voting system here, and nothing else really complicated, but this is for you to see what an Intercom knowledge base looks like if you are considering using Intercom. So the next kind of knowledge base software we'll be talking about is Hubspot. So we're going to look at two examples from Hubspot. One is very popular, you've seen this before, and that's SurveyMonkey. So SurveyMonkey built their knowledge base on Hubspot, and what you'll notice immediately about their knowledge base is that the user interface is less friendly and more overwhelming than what we've seen on the Intercom ones. Yes, the Intercom ones, maybe felt also a bit too simplistic, and but definitely looking much better and less overwhelming than this. The menu, on the landing page, you have a very small header, a search bar, and then different different buttons here for the different categories that exist. But beyond that, the categories seem to be broken down further then into subsections. So get responses, when you click on that, you do have subcategories within, and within that, that's where you find articles accompanied by summaries. Now, what's interesting about this knowledge base software is that it is a lot more customizable nonetheless. Although the menu you'll see later, the user interface is generally the same, whereby you have maybe a menu kind of horizontally at the top, and then a vertical one on the left side, and then the articles appear here. But anyway, let's quickly look at what happens, or not what happens, but what an article actually looks like. So you click on it, fairly basic, kind of looks a lot smaller than what we saw on the Intercom knowledge bases. The article was more centered, bigger, sort of taking up a larger proportion of the screen, and in this case we see less of that, and I think that's basically what you get. They also have a voting system to help people rank the helpfulness of an article, but on HubSpot it's just a simple yes or no, and that's all you get with a submit. And so I think one of the interesting things to look at here now is another one, and I'm just quickly going to switch over to the next example. Optimizely is the next product that we're looking at, or the next knowledge base. And basically, as I was saying, HubSpot knowledge bases are a lot more customizable. You can basically get a web designer who has worked with HubSpot before or feels confident in doing so to create something for you that brings a completely unique feel to your user interface. So it doesn't have to be definitely the same, but I think you still see general elements that are similar, whereby there is a menu on the left side, and that seems to be the something that has to remain the same regardless of how much you customize it. And let's quickly look at an article example then. Once we click on an example here, boom, just trying to find something that will show that. Okay, so on this knowledge base, you do see that the article is a lot more centered, appearing bigger on the screen, just like the Intercom knowledge base, which is great because it does show that with HubSpot and the degree of customization you're willing to to implement on your knowledge base, you can achieve a look that is a lot more customized. This clearly looks so much more different to what we saw on SurveyMonkey, whereas the Intercom knowledge base and the Pixie knowledge base look very, very similar, only different in the fact that one's blue and one's pink, really. But at the end of the day, based on how much money you'd like to actually spend on customizing on top of paying for the subscription, and yes, all knowledge base software products require you to pay a subscription, and so there's an inevitable cost to having a knowledge base. But anyway, with HubSpot, you certainly would need to spend some money on web design or customizing it. So without any further ado, we're going to look at the next knowledge base software, and then Zendesk is the next knowledge base software we're looking at. Top 3 most popular. And one of the interesting things you quickly notice about a Zendesk knowledge base is that they are the most static and sort of very basic and simple as well out of all the leading knowledge base software. And that's because you will notice that the front page of this one will look a lot like the one we'll be looking at. You can add a logo of your own at the top here. This one's really small, but I hope you can see it. And basically on the home page, you have recent activity showing listing articles that were recently added, but then you also do have categories here. And on this particular knowledge base, it is for a product called Access Point, and basically it's used to manage communication in properties where you have many people living together in different units. And so maybe the apartment building management company sort of wants a software to manage flow of information and communication between the management and the tenants, and so they have this whole app where they can release messages, and tenants can submit maintenance requests for somebody to come and fix their toilet. Anyway, so the categories that you see here, you click on it, and you get different subcategories as well, where you can find articles, and then when you click on the articles, they appear well written. You see that's my name. Clearly this is one of our clients, and you can follow the coolest thing about Zendesk knowledge base is that you can follow a specific author. So and it also allows you to sign in, or that functionality is a lot more simple and straightforward than any other knowledge base. I'm sure Hubspot allows people to have an account and sign in with their account that is associated. Maybe for instance, let's say you could say that all the users that are using your SaaS can sign into your knowledge base and thus access special content that isn't just for the general public. When you do sign in and have that functionality available, people are able to follow authors, and that kind of makes Zendesk the best knowledge base software in terms of experience. If you have a community or maybe a knowledge base that will have a lot of content, and content that is differentiated by authors, and where it makes sense for a visitor to be following a specific author. On here, the articles again are a lot more centered like the Intercom knowledge base, where they take up the screen neatly. When you look at it, it's all you see. And the voting system is a lot similar to what we saw on HubSpot. It's just a simple yes or no. You can, and again, on here you can leave comments, which we haven't seen on any other knowledge-based software yet. And I think one of the most interesting thing is that with Zendesk, you do see a more apparent integration with a customer support ticketing system, whereby if you didn't notice, there is this option: have more questions, submit a request. And I'm sure that's also available on HubSpot probably, and not necessarily Intercom. But Zendesk, what I'm saying is, puts that as sort of a default option within your knowledge base, whereas on HubSpot you would have to do some tinkering and learning to actually implement this. So we'll look at another Zendesk knowledge base here. This one is by Simply Hired. Simply Hired is basically an accounting and HR. I mean, it's not an accounting tool. This is false advertising. This is not advertising at all. But Simply Hired is a HR tool that allows teams to manage different HR tasks and duties on an app by having employees and the HR team all having accounts on one app, and they can send different things like documents for HR purposes. Time of request can be sent there, and many other things that HR duties are usually done via email or having to visit their office. It can all be done on an app and be traceable in a very systemic way through this Simply Hired app. Now, the knowledge base is not really flushed out, not a lot of content on it. It's very new, and we're actually working on putting more content there. But I just wanted to show you its face so that you understand how similar Zendesk knowledge bases are, and I think they are the least customizable. And that's because the buttons again here are blue, same thing that we saw on the access point knowledge base. Small logo in the top corner, and then barely anything else, no header or banner to customize. Recent activity, as I showed you before on the access point knowledge base. And then once you click on any category, you get subcategories. Here we have document, and when you click on it, the article once again is centered, a lot more in your face than we've seen on HubSpot, at least on the first HubSpot knowledge base that we looked at. But anyway, neat voting system, yes or no here, was it helpful? But I hope my video was helpful and not this article only, because hopefully this gives you a strong insight into what your knowledge base will look like should you go with either HubSpot, Intercom, or Zendesk. Again, I think HubSpot is the most customizable if you're willing to invest in web design. Intercom, definitely a nice and simple user interface, and probably what I'd recommend you actually opt for. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because before and to my clients I usually say opt for Zendesk, but Intercom really stands out as one with the simplest user interface. You can customize it, not to the wildest extent, but enough for anybody to kind of feel like, okay, I've only seen this for your product and not somewhere else another day, just a few days ago. And then again, the articles appear very clear, and you can add images there. Nice voting system as well. Zendesk is one more so for, yes, simpler, but if you are looking to build a community where you want users to be signing in to access more content on your knowledge base and even end up following authors, then Zendesk is the tool to look at. And again, Zendesk also has a great appearance in terms of the articles. But then again, HubSpot, if you really are willing to invest in a customized and unique knowledge base, then you should be looking at HubSpot. HubSpot and Zendesk, just to wrap it up, are the ones that offer a lot more integration with customer support ticketing, whereby we've seen on Zendesk, and I'm showing it on my screen now, the option to submit a request, and that's to kind of submit a customer support ticket. And you'll see that on HubSpot too, less default than what you see on Zendesk, but it's an option. I really hope that was helpful. Stick around for more videos, or maybe in the future we'll publish something that you like as well. But good luck with your knowledge base, and all the best out there. Let me know how your knowledge base project is going in the comments down below.